I'm sitting in my royal chambers at Whitehall Palace, staring at maps of my brand new creation, the Dominion of New England, and feeling pretty sus about the whole situation. I thought combining New York, New Jersey, and all of New England into one mega colony under my control was giving absolute genius energy. But now I've got colonists, Parliament, Protestants, all screaming for my head over it. Uh-oh. My name is King James II, and this is the AP US History My Story podcast. 2 years ago in 1684, England was spending way too much money trying to govern all these separate colonies that were basically doing whatever they wanted. Massachusetts was acting like they were their own country, Connecticut was ignoring half our trade laws, and don't even get me started in Rhode Island. Those people were giving main character energy in the worst possible way. My Dominion of New England solution was basically to create one super colony with one royal governor who answered directly to me. Sir Edmund Andros was my guy, military background, totally loyal, ready to enforce English law. The plan was to streamline everything. One government, one set of laws, one efficient system for collecting taxes and enforcing trade regulations. Except the colonists were not having it. Turns out people get really attached to their local governments, even when those local governments are kind of a mess. When Andros showed up and started telling Massachusetts that their town meetings were illegal, that they needed to pay taxes they'd never paid before, and that their land titles might not be valid anymore, they basically said, "Not today, Satan." The whole thing was giving disaster energy from day one. Andros was trying to govern from Boston, but he was supposed to control everything from Maine down to New Jersey. He couldn't be everywhere at once. Local leaders were undermining him constantly, and the colonists were getting more and more frustrated. But here's the real tea. I was also facing way bigger problems back here in England. Being a Catholic king in a Protestant country was already sus enough, but I was making moves that made everyone think I was trying to turn England fully back to Catholicism. To most English people, Catholic meant secretly loyal to the Pope and probably going to invite foreign armies to invade. It was giving religious paranoia, but honestly, not totally unreasonable given England's history with Catholic monarchs. By 1686, I could see the writing on the wall. My Dominion experiment was falling apart, Parliament was hostile, and even my own daughter Mary was becoming a hardcore Protestant. The whole Dominion of New England situation highlights how transatlantic trade was reshaping everything about how empires worked in the late 1600s. It was about making bank by making sure England got its fair share of the profits from the trade routes. The navigation acts that we mandated that Massachusetts kept ignoring, they were designed to send colonial raw materials like tobacco, sugar, and naval stores to England, who would process them, add value, and sell the finished products back to the colonies and to other countries. Make England the ultimate middleman, right? But here's what actually happened. Colonists made direct deals with the Dutch, French, and everyone else. Why to London for 5 shillings when Amsterdam pays 8? It made perfect economic sense to the colonies, but it was bleeding money out of my English imperial system. My attempt to consolidate colonial government was basically trying to solve this problem through political control rather than economic incentives. Spoiler alert, that's not how markets work. People find ways around restrictions, especially when those restrictions are being enforced by one guy trying to control half a continent from a single office in Boston. Plot twist. I got overthrown in the Glorious Revolution of 1688, just 2 years after this moment. William of Orange, my own son-in-law, was Protestant peas in a pod with my daughter Mary. He invaded England with Dutch troops and nobody fought to defend me. But I got the last laugh. My cousin was the sun god himself, Louis XIV, and he had me living absolutely bougie at Saint Germain. That chateau gave me royal palace energy that boring-ass England never did. The Dominion of New England collapsed the moment news of my overthrow reached Boston. The colonists arrested Sir Edmund Andros and sent him back to England in chains. All those separate colonial charters got restored, and everyone went back to governing themselves pretty much exactly like they had before. But here's the thing. The issues that led to the Dominion didn't go away. England still wanted more control over colonial trade, and the colonists still wanted more autonomy over their own affairs. Those tensions just kept building for the next century until they exploded in the American Revolution. My attempt to create a more efficient empire ended up proving that you can't govern people effectively without their consent, even if you have all the legal authority in the world. Like, follow, and share the AP US History My Story podcast, because these stories hit different when you hear the original voices that shaped our country.